Okay, so 1 second. So yesterday I created this IP cloud function where I have the IP only of the user who is logged in, and when I go to the routing, I run this IP, I am able to see the IP from the server. Next thing is, in addition to IP, I need to pass the location details of the user also, and that's what I'm able to do now. Okay, so remember this is the server side. This is the server side code, so it will not be exact. It will not be exact location. You can only give the city or nearby area. So I cannot point exactly where you are accessing, but it will be city where user is located. And we are using this, at least we should know around about where exactly user is. To know the exact place, user has to give the permission, and that will be the code on the React side, not on the server side. This code is on server side, so even though user will not give the permission to access his location, we will be able to find his roundabout at the location using the IP. Okay, so yesterday I showed you that we have to go to a particular location to get this is the location. So we will call this through the request through the HTTP call and get this information and send back to my React application. So for that, we need to install one more package, though there is a default package available in the node, but that default package is not very customizable or very straightforward to use. So I can use that also, but that does not make sense. We want to make things simple. So that package is called Axios. So I will install that on the server side. npm install --a. You can also install this on your server side, and this will call the HTTP call to another server, and we will get the response whatever we want. So where we will call the HTTP request to this URL and with the IP of the user. Okay, so that is why we need to install the Axios. So you can also install together with me. Okay, so we have installed this Axios. Now we have to call in our ip.js cloud file. I will call this Axios. Constant Axios is equal to require Axios. So this is the first line we are calling the Axios. Now we got the IP here. This is the IP. And here I will call this URL, right? This URL. Let me call this URL and see what we are getting it. So to call this URL using Axios, simple statement is okay. So let me write down what we will try to do in this function. Get the IP of the user. Okay. After getting the IP, check in the database if we have this IP. If we have this IP, I will not go to this URL to fetch the details. I know it is there in the database. So why to call the server call this one? Because this server call is costly. They don't give too much unlimited calls. Okay, so if you have already in database, don't call this one and reduce your counts, because here you may get 1,000 or 5,000 per month. I don't know exact. So if you call this again and again for the same user, you will lose all the accounts from that website. So it's better you call if it is not in the database. So we will check in the database if we have this IP, and if we have IP, then we return from database. We will not call the backend API. From database. Okay, so this check we will do in a bit. And if it is not in database, then call the, what is it called? It's called IP info dot, then call the IP info dot IO to get the location details. So if we don't have in database, that means we are querying this IP first time to this one to get the information, and so we don't need to go. We have to go to the website or the server to get the data. So here we will return if we have in database. If it is not in database, we will call it. So let's do this step first. And after this one, after we get the data from the server, we will save the response in database so that next time we can return it from here. And after saving in database, we will return the details back to the user. Okay, so this is something we'll return it. So let's go through each step. First, we will do this step. So to call the this URL, we will use this statement. We will construct the URL first. Okay, what is the URL? URL is, let's do it in the backtick. I will put this URL and I will replace this IP with the user's IP, that is this one. So I will take this IP and put it here. Dollar, since it is variable, I will put inside dollar curly bracket to get that one. So now we got the URL. Now we have to request this URL using the Access. Access is the tool to call the AJAX request to another server. Now I will say constant response is equal to await. Since it is a promise, so we need to use promise. Access.get, and this is the get call, we have to use get. If it is a post call, we have to use post. If it is a put call, we have to use put. If it is a delete call, we have to use delete. And then we will put URL here. Okay, and then we will see what is the response coming. So if you see, if you don't pass the token, you are getting this missing auth. So we need to get the token from the server. So right now, everyone has to create his own token. So let me create one token for me. Okay. It's saying login. Not allowing. I did not receive the password also. I think that is not good way. He has not created good way. So don't use my password token. Okay, so let's see where we can create a token. Okay, I will delete this token. Okay, so don't use my token. I'm using it for showing you because I have another token. So I will use this token. 1 second. Okay, so yeah, so I will call this response, and we're getting let's pass this token which we just now got it. If you don't pass token, I'm not sure if they allow or they will block or it's okay. So try it if you want to try without token. Okay, so now I will see the response, and this response will be visible in the browser or here in the console. Question to you: whether this response will be visible to the browser or here in the console terminal. No, I mean to say whether it will be visible to browser's console or in this terminal. In the terminal. The reason is this is the server-side code. Anything written console in the server-side code, see, this is inside the cloud folder, that is the server side. So anything which is created inside the server will be visible in this terminal, not in the browser's console. Okay, let me show you now. So we will go. I will refresh this. So data is coming this from the server, but we will see the terminal. So in the terminal, you will see response is coming. So this is the response which we got, and this has the data. This is the data, which is the thing which we are seeing in the browser, like this one. This part, this whole part will come under the data. So if we want to capture this data, we will, instead of response, I will say response.data. So let's try one more time. Refresh it. And now you will see the response is the data which I need. This is the response. I will save this information in my database. And next time if we query this IP, I will not get it from the server. I will get from the database. Before I go further, just you write down this part, access part, and these two lines. If this console is not needed, we will delete it. Or let's keep it till we finish it, but no need it after our testing. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute to finish this part. Okay, maybe. Okay, it's okay. Yes, these are the two lines. I hope you have finished it. Now we will save this response in the database. So we'll get this information which we got, and we will save it in the database. So specifically, important thing to note here is, one second. Important thing is to note here is this location part. So which will give me the latitude and longitude of the user. It is not the exact one, it is the near about. So first we will concentrate on this part. Okay, before even I concentrate on this part, let's try to create as usual. Whenever we create a new post, we write down in this way: constant post is equal to path dot object dot extend, and I will give the table name. Let's give the table name as IP. You can give anything you want. I just give the IP. Then I will say small post is equal to new post. So this is my new post, and first parameter which I will put here is post.set IP is equal to IP. So we are setting the IP because we got already this IP. So we are setting this IP here. Okay. So let's do this even before. Let's call this. Okay, let it be here. Not a problem. Now, if response.data is available, I will put all other details in this post. If it is not available, let's say tomorrow there is some network problem, you did not get the data back from the server, or you have used all your counting, they give limited number of access. So if you lose all, then they will not give anything in the response. So I'm saying if you get this data back, then we will put all the information in the database. So what information we need to put in the database? First is the host name. Okay, so let's copy this multiple times. Okay, first is the host name. And the host name will be response.data.hostname. Okay, let me copy this line. Next is the city. Next is the region. Instead of region, I can also say state. Okay, state. Next is country. Next is location. Next is organize. I will say every information which I got. Next is postal. Next is time zone. And I will save this information. I'm not saving it now because I need to finish few more details. Okay, so let's talk about this part now, location. Because we got this latitude, longitude, let's talk this about. So if I want to save latitude and longitude separately, I have comma sign here. How will I convert this string to array so that I can take the first part as a latitude, second part as a longitude? So what is the JavaScript code to separate these two? Can anyone tell me? Yes, so generate a token in the website and then put it here in this URL. So I see latitude is coming in this format. Okay, I need to convert this into the array so that I can take use of this separately and this separately as a latitude and longitude. How can I convert this into array so that I can use this part as a latitude, this part as a longitude. What is the JavaScript code to separate these two? Split. Split is the one. Since this is a string, we need to split it. So here I will do a splitting part. So I will create one temp variable called as constant temp is equal to, I have to take the location, then I have to use split. Split will take the string, convert it into the array at whichever location you want. I want at comma, so I can put it inside comma. So it will take comma and it will split this two separately. Now what will be the latitude? Latitude will be, now temp will be the array with 0 element as this one and 1 element as this one. So I'll say temp of 0 is latitude and temp of 1 is longitude. Since latitude and longitude are strings here, but I need to convert it into float. How will I convert it into float? Because this is in decimal, I need to convert it into float. How will I convert this in float? What should I use? Parse float. Rakesh is correct. Parse float. And I will use parse float for both, so that both will become float. Okay, so we got latitude and longitude in the floating one. Now I will create two more, one for latitude and one for longitude. Okay, since we have latitude and longitude, sometimes if I want to check a distance from one record to another record, so to do that in parse, we need to create one more column, and that column is called, you can name it anything, but I will call it as geo. I will call it as geo. And the value of it will be, it is given by in the parse document. It's called the new parse.geoPoint. And in geoPoint, I will put latitude and longitude in the object format. So I'll say latitude is equal to lat. This lat I got from here. So latitude is this lat, and longitude is this LNG. So what I did, I created new geoPoint and put it here in this geo field. So if I want to tell the parse, okay, give me the records 10 miles around this latitude longitude. So we will take use of this field and parse give the readybed function to give us, all the nearby IPs. So that is the reason I can track who are the nearby IP near to this IP. So that's why I always create geo if I have latitude and longitude. So whenever we try to put latitude longitude in our parse database, you also have to put this geo point, because this latitude longitude you won't be able to get the nearby records, but with this field you will be able to get the nearby records. So that is why I always create this field if we want to put latitude and longitude. Okay, then we created this one. Okay, let's do some ACL also. Okay, we need to do ACL. So let's create const ACL is equal to, which we always do, new parse dot access control list. This is for, who can access this. Look, this one. So I want public to read it, so anyone can read it. So public read access is true. But I don't want public to write on this table. So set public write access as false. Then I want the admin of the website should be able to write it. So I'll say set role write access, and I will give the administrator to true. So he can only edit this post. If I am the administrator, I am only authorized to edit this record. And then I will attach this set ACL with ACL, which I created. So this ACL is going inside it. So I take this post and set the ACL. Now one more thing is remaining in this process, and that is what I want to explain you here. So the thing is remaining is there. Let's say I have this IP, whatever IP is there. What is the IP? Let me see. What IP is this? This is my IP. So this is my IP, and I am accessing it, the website with this IP. My username is Manish, for example. And tomorrow my son is also accessing this website. His IP will also be same because he is staying in my home. So though the IP is same, but he is accessing it. So his name is, let's say, Nikhil, and he want to access it. So he is also there. So I also want to say for this IP which users are trying to access it. Okay, but here if you see, if I put user, if I add one more row as user, and I will put the current user come in the format of request.user. This is the automatic delivered by the parse, who is logged in user. Parse will give us the information here, request.user. So the logged in user is in this variable. If I put like this, then only I can put one user for this IP. So tomorrow I am accessing, I can access this one. But tomorrow my son is accessing, he will also get this IP. So since I will return it from the database here, so he will consider, or the system will consider it is Manish, not the Nikhil, because Nikhil try to access the website after Manish. So I cannot put one user here like this. So we need to create one-to-many relations. So there is one post and it is tied to many users. So this post or this IP should be tied to many users, whoever is accessing from this IP. Let's say there is a big organization. They have 100 users. All are using my website. So all may have this IP. So I need to put names of all users there. So we need to see how to create one-to-many relations in this one. So we have not done this thing before. So right now you will see one example, and like this we will do a lot more examples in future. So I will say if request.user is there, that means if someone is logged in and trying to access it. If someone is not logged in, I will just create this without making any relation. But if user is logged in, then I will make the relation. So how to make the relation? I will create one variable called as relation, and I will say this post, I will put post dot relation. This is the relation given by the parse server, and I want to create a name. What name you want in the IP table for this relation? I will say, since I will be putting many users, so I will name it as users. I can put anything, whatever name I want to give to this field. This field will consist of all the users for this post. So right now I will create a user. That it's not a single user, many users will be there in this one. And then I will say relation dot add. What I want to add? I want to add this user. So I will say request dot user. This is nothing but the logged in user. So I'm adding the logged in user to this relation. And this relation is created from the post. So it will automatically assign to this post. We don't have to do any other thing. With these 4 lines of the code, it will automatically create a field, put the current user in the relation, and we can put as number of user as we want. Okay, so we have put this relation here. We will also put relation here when we check the database. I will tell you this in a couple of minutes, but let's finish this part and see how it works. So after this relation, I will save it. Here I will write a save query, but before I write the save query, let's return. What I will return? I will return this post. This post will have everything. It will have IP. It will have all the information which I get it. So I am returning the post rather than returning the only IP. Okay, before returning post, I will save the post. So I will say await post.save. Okay, that also I have to tell you a different way. Since we are writing this on the server side, cloud side, so we should always, first I'm putting in the comment and then I will write down. So we should always write down like this, await post.save. So this is the normally we do. If you have done in the React, we do this method. But on this server side, many times things will not work properly if you don't have access to it, or if you try to do something which is not acceptable. So you need to force the things. So even if you don't have permission, the server side code will do it for you. So it will not need whether a logged in user has permission or not. It will forcefully put whatever you want. So here I have to pass null, first parameter, and second parameter is an object. In this object, we have to say use master key equal to true. And this way, with master key, you have the admin access and it can do whatever you want to do. Okay, so I'll double check the spelling. Use master key. Okay, it's not coming. So it's fine. It's a use master key equal to true. Now we will see this one in practically. I will refresh it. So now you will see data is coming as a path object, and this is nothing but the object, and we have everything here. City, US, this is the geo point, host name, IP, latitude, longitude, location, organization, postal, state, time zone. And we can see this in database also. So IP table is created with all the information. Okay, so this information is created in the table. Now I want to show you the users part. Since we created the relation, you are able to see here as a view relation. And when I click this one, I will see the users table of that user who is logged in. So I am logged in currently like this. So I will see my name like this one. So tomorrow if I delete this user, it will automatically delete it from the IP's users relation. Okay, they are tied automatically. So if I delete in the user table, it will be out of this one. So if another user is coming, I will add one more user here and I can see that here. Okay, so I will show you now that one. Okay, so before I go further, just finish this insert part. Okay, so this is a big one. So just write down this one. I will scroll once you're done till here. Is it done? Okay, so I think everyone is done with this one, post one. So most of the time, whenever we write any code here in the cloud, we will try to use master key if needed, or we may not use in some cases, but most of the time we will use it. So once you pass the master key, you can access anything, you can do anything. It's up to you, because if some post I don't have any access, then also with master key I can access it. That's the idea behind the master key. Now before even going to insert it, if we have to see if it is in the database, then we should not even insert it because it's already in the database for that IP. I don't want to get two records for the same IP. So here I have to check. So to check, I will create a query. Query is equal to new parse.query IP. So this you remember, we have to create a query like this. Then I will check query dot equal to. So we are comparing the IP. So IP should be equal to this IP. So if we get some records with this IP, that means that IP already exists in the database. We don't need to insert it again. We don't need to call even the server-side code. And then here I will create a variable called as the result is equal to await query dot first. I need only the first query. I don't want all because it's only one. We don't allow more than one. And here, whenever you call first also, here also you should use a master key. So I will say use master key equal to true. So when we write the React code, we will not use this master key part. But whenever we are on the cloud side, we will use this master key equal to true. And now I will check if result is there. That means if IP is already in my database. And I will also check. Yeah, result should be there, right? That's the only thing we need to check. If result is there or not. Okay, so if result is there, that means the record already exists. Then what I will do? I have to only update this part also, this relation part. So if result is there, I will see if logged in user is there, and if logged in user is there, then I will create the relation again, tie to, here we have the post, so we are tying it to post, but here we don't have post, we have the result, so we have to take result. So relation equal to result dot relation user, and I will add relation dot add request dot user, and here I will say await result dot save null use master key equal to true. So what here we are doing, we are checking the database for that IP, and if we are checking only the first row. If we get result, that means the record is already in the database. We don't want to go down, and we need to return the result. Here we were returning the post. Here we will return the result only. So if we have result, that means the record is in database. We will update the relation part, because sometimes the new user is coming. So at least we should add this. And if old user is coming, even if we put this part, it will not create two user under the same one, because it's a relation. It will add that user again. It will update that user. So there's no problem. If the same user is accessing, we can add this line. But the new user is coming with the same IP, because in one company there will be 100 users. They all will come through the same IP. So I don't want to create 100 records for the IP, because IP is same, but I want to see which users are coming through which IP. That's the reason I want to create relation. And this will update the result kind of thing in the database. Let's double check this. Now I will refresh it again. So it's giving me this information. Let's go there and we will see here what is coming in this one. So if you see in this one, I'm not seeing this response part, because it is already returned from here. And if I want to check the database, I will refresh it. I'll go to IP. There's only one record, and relation is the current user which is logged in. Let's try to log out and log in with another user. Okay, so now the user is this one. Let's try to see what is coming here. I'm getting Fremont. Let's go in the database. I'll go to IP. So we have the one record because the same IP is coming, and I will go in the users. Now you will see two users up there. And if I delete one user from the user table, it will automatically be deleted from here. Okay, so we have two records. Now if 10 users are coming for each IP, I can see all 10 here in this users part. I hope it is clear. And now you have to put this part. Just write on this part. Okay, so let me explain this part again. So we don't want to add multiple records in the database with the same IP. So I will query the date table IP and check if any other record is having the same IP, which is this current one. And we want to get the first record, so I'm putting first. We don't want to get all the records. So I get the first record with this IP in the database. If it is there in the database, that means we already added this IP in the database, so we will get something here. But if this is the first time for this IP, then this result will be undefined and we will go further and we will add the new record. But if we have already added the record, this will become true and we will get some data in the result. If we have logged in user, then we will create the same relation which we created here. The only difference will be here we are using the post, and here we will use the result which we got from this query. And I create a relation users and I add in relation this current user, current logged in user, and then I save this result in this format. And once it is saved, I will send the result back to the user so that on the React side we can get this information and we can do something on our website. So that is all this part is. Okay, is it done, this part? You have to put token here after generating. So when you go to that website, generate the token and put it here. Put your own token, don't use my token, because I will delete this token and then you will not be able to get the proper response. So debug means there are different ways to debug things. I generally debug with the help of console. Okay, so there is separate section about the debugging in the VS Code by putting the breakpoint. That I will take some time in future. But right now you can put the console statements and see it here as I was doing it few minutes back. Regarding putting debug point, I will take one separate section after a few days. So you can put debug point and you can debug the things. Okay, right now just go through the console statement to debug it. I feel this is much handy putting the console, but I will show you some breakpoint method how to debug that, which I generally don't do, but I will show you if you want to do it. Okay, let's go further now. I deleted this console statement because we don't need it. All console should be removed. Okay. So now let's go to, now I get this data here. If I refresh it, it is coming here. Right, data is here with all the information. But when I travel from one page to another page, I need to access this data. I want to, whenever you create the post, I want to get this IP and post it with your post. So how can I access this data on other pages? Okay, because once the page will load, we have many components. We need to use this data in another component. Can anyone tell me high level, what should I do to this data so that I can use it everywhere on the website? Redux, we will use the Redux. Right. I will not create the Redux part today because it will take time. Tomorrow I will do that because it will 1 hour will take to, we already have the Redux part, but for specifically this part, I will create a new reducer, new action. That part we will create tomorrow. So just remember we need to save this data in the Redux and then use it on anywhere we want. Now, I will take few minutes only to add one more thing, which we will continue tomorrow, but I will add that part today. So now, there is another special thing, because this IP, getting the location from this IP is not very accurate. So we will also gather the information, accurate information from the user if he wants to give it. And if we give that information also, then we will take use of that information rather than this one, because this one IP is important. 1 second. Okay, sorry, I'm back. So this information which I get it from this response, this is not very accurate, but city is accurate, but not exact location. So at least we get the nearby address of the user. But if I want exact address, we will do that also now, because since we are here, we will do that. I will not do complete thing now. I'll do start something, but we'll do afterwards. So let's create in the utils. I will create one file called as geo.jsx, and I will create a sample here, and I will call this geo in my routing. Okay, so this will give me so I have to go to utils and then I will go to geo. So I call this geo file. Let's call this geo at the bottom, extreme bottom. 1 second. Let me see what is the right point of putting this. Okay, let's put it here. Okay, I put my geo file here, which I created. This is my geo component. This will give me exact address of the user if he allows me. But here, user has to give me the permission. If user will give me permission, I will get the exact address of his location, so that I will know where he is located exactly. I can force also user at some place that give me exact location. Otherwise, you cannot proceed. But that is very hard forcing. Many people will not like it. So see, geo is coming here. I don't want to display this geo, so I will just empty this. I will return null. Because I don't want to return anything it. I just want to use this file. Okay, here I will show you one thing now, but we will continue tomorrow. I will create one function here at the top. I don't want it because I may move this function to any common location also. So I'm just creating right now here. Function is called the get location, and it has two parameter, that is two functions are there which I have to pass. One is show position and another is error position. If error comes, then error position. Okay, so now what I will do, so this is the default of the user browser. There is one package or module, you can say browser module is available, and that module is called navigator.geolocation. This will exactly tell me what is the location of the user. And here I will say navigator.geolocation.getCurrentPosition. So it will give me exact position of the user, show position and error position. Okay, so what we are doing, we are calling getCurrentPosition is the function which will give me exact location of the user. And once I get this position, I will pass two function. That is success function, and this is the error function. If we are not getting the position, I will put it error position function, and if I am getting correct result, I will pass it to the new function called as show position. So these two functions, this is the success, this is the error functions we have to create, which we have to use it to display the correct position or error. So let's try to use this geolocation and see how it works. Only we will do this part today, but we will complete this file tomorrow. So since I have to do it on the page load, not on any case, so I will say react.useEffect, and here I will put the arrow function, and I will pass the empty dependencies. So this will be loaded only on the page load one time. Here I will call this geolocation, and I have to pass two functions. Right now I will pass to my custom arrow functions. Later on I will build this function and use that one. So one of the function is success. This is the success part, and this is the error part. If error is there, I will say show the error, or console.log error is error dot message. And if success is there, I will get some position. I will console that log that position. So what will happen when the page will load? It will ask me the permission to access the location, and if I give that permission, then I can see my exact position of where I am currently located. Okay, we will follow this one, and here I will get exact latitude and longitude of the user, and so it is more accurate, and in some cases we need that also. There is also one more function just I want to show you. There is a watch position. Watch position is something if you're in mobile, if you're moving, so whenever you move, the position changes, you will be able to track that also, like in the maps. Okay, but that is little heavy thing. Oh, if we do something in the map and we want to track the position of the user, then we can use that one. Okay, right now I want only one time the position of the user. Let's check this one now. So see, as soon as it got refreshed, it is asking me want to know your location. If I block it, it will go into the error part and I will see the error message. But if I allow it, it will allow me and give me the position. Let me allow it. Okay, so once I click allow, I get this position. This is my accurate position where I am located it. So we will see in the map what position I am getting it and whether it's really accurate or it's see, it's saying accuracy also null. Let's see what things are coming. Altitude is null. Okay, so these are additional parameters we're getting, but let's check if this is really accurate or not. I will go into the Google Maps and see if it is really accurate or a little bit accurate. So I'll go here, I'll put my first latitude and then I will put my longitude and I'll see what it is coming. Okay, so it's saying, so this is not very accurate position. It's not the really where I am. So this is not the accurate one. Let's try to refresh it and see again. It's giving me same thing. Okay, so generally it says that geolocation gives accurate, but sometimes it also fails like this. This is not my real accurate position, though it's nearby, but it is not the accurate position. Okay, 1 second. Okay, in the morning I was checking, it was giving me the accurate location, but somehow, you know, uh, this is tied to my internet service, so sometimes it does not give very accurate result. But you know, in the morning it was giving me exact place where I was there. Okay, so it's okay for now. At least we can integrate it and use it. Sometimes you will get 100% accurate, sometimes you will get nearby. Okay, so it's okay. Any questions on this one? Don't write down this one. I will commit this file, you can use it, but this is not the complete one. We need to write a lot more things on this. This is just a demo of how we get the location of the user. Okay, any questions? We're done for today. If you have any questions, I can answer. Otherwise, we'll meet tomorrow.